Hey guys, Blink here, coming back with another video. This time we're going to be taking a look back at Tales of Xillia. Tales of Xillia is a JRPG developed and published by Bandai Namco and was originally released on the PlayStation 3. Before we get into it, please be sure to leave a like, comment who's your favorite character if you have one, share, and to most importantly subscribe for more subpar at best content. Roll the clip!
Better off without you.
This game starts off with this nice anime cutscene where we're following this guy who seems to be a med student who's pretty much just running late to his next appointment. We learn that his name is Jude. He is one of two protagonists that we get to choose from, and he's pretty much the top student in his class and about to graduate. Pretty much a square. I remember thinking, like, is this guy really our main character? He gave off the impression that going on some typical grand journey to save the world would be the last thing he'd be getting himself into. But surprisingly enough, that was the same reason I was able to be so attentive and invested throughout the game's entirety, just to see how his character develops throughout the story. And let me tell you, it was pretty cool seeing him grow throughout the story, from just being this guy that everyone steps over because he can't say no whenever someone asks for help, even though he already has enough on his plate, to having a mind of his own and speaking up when he feels that things are unjust, let alone being collectively agreed upon by the other members of the party that he's pretty much the leader. The other main character in the game is Mila Maxwell. She's pretty much the reincarnation of this almighty lord of the spirits, naturally granting her the power to control the four great elemental spirits, Ifrit, Undine, Sylph, and Gnome, being that of fire, water, wind, and earth respectively. Her whole role in the story revolves around her suddenly losing her godly powers one day, and she's forced to go out into the human world, learning how to adapt to things like having to eat for the first time or relying more on her own combat prowess. I feel as though the focus on the overall plot revolves around how the spirits and humans need to learn how to properly coexist with one another or face dire consequences. And Mila and the gang are the ones that are pretty much being tasked with being the middlemen in all of this to see if both sides can come to a mutual agreement without one abusing the other. Alvin's the next character we pick up. He's supposed to be this suave, laid-back guy who has no particular interest in going on this grand journey. The only real reason he ends up in this mess is because his actual occupation is a mercenary, and Mila and Jude hired him on for the task to help them out with training Mila how to properly use a sword. He agrees, but since he's a mercenary, his work isn't for free. But since we're broke, in return we help him out on an assignment that he was already previously tasked with. The next person we meet to join our party is little Elise, accompanied with her pal Tipo, a talking stuffed animal who is also this game's mascot. She seems to have a pretty rough upbringing just based on the fact of how we meet her. She's getting pelted by rocks, and I mean, like, no one's holding back, dude. Like, she's just in the middle of town, just on her knees, getting just whacked with rocks. And she's pretty much completely defenseless, just taking the inhumane beating until Jude sees this and then hops in to defend her. Her and Jude hit it off so well that Elise slowly starts opening up, and we learn that we're her first friend. And from there on, how we later get to see how she pretty much has no one, Jude has to convince the party to, like, let her tag along because it's better being with us than being continually mistreated here in this town. So we pretty much take her under our wing, and she's the next person to join our party. We pretty much head over to Sherrilton, where we meet up with this guy. His name's Rowan. I mean, what's a Tales game without an out-of-place old man tagging along with a bunch of miners, right? This game's pedo is Rowan, a world-renowned military technician formerly given the name the Conductor from the past war. Although that was his status in the past, he has now moved on from that lifestyle, and we are introduced to him as a butler to the Royal Palace in Sheridan. The way we encounter each other is because of Jude and Mila being on the run from the feds, and Rowan decides to jump in and get them out of the sticky situation by flaunting his military title to the guards pretty much, and the guards just like shit their pants because of the fact that they're actually meeting this man in the flesh, and since they're so hyped up about it, they pretty much just let them go. And for our final character that joins the party, Leia. Leia is Jude's childhood friend. This portion of the game is really neat. We end up heading to Jude's hometown because Mila got severely injured in a fight to a point where she severely damaged her legs and she couldn't even walk. Jude was really hesitant on returning home, but he had no idea who else to turn to but his expert doctor parents. She first joins the team in order to help us out down in the mines to farm a very valuable ore, needed as part of a medicine to give to Mila. Then after all that mess is taken care of, she pretty much snakes her way into the party in hopes that she can get some hanky-panky time with Jude. Since this new game was, I believe, the first of the next-gen Tales games years after Vesperia finally came out, that meant that we get a whole new battle mechanics engine. In this game we fight in links. This is known as the dual rate linear motion battle system. Wow, that's a mouthful. This pretty much means that you go into combat in your standard party of 4, but you get to link with one of the other party members to fight in sync with each other, and the AI support person pretty much serves as backup to you. And each different link combination allows for different special finishers known as link arts, adding a load of depth and strategy to the battle mechanics. Another great addition is that you're also able to shuffle through the party characters mid-battle, which is a series first. And I remember looking back at that, I was like mind blown just to like, what, I don't have to go to like a save spot to change a party like in other games, not necessarily Tales because I don't think any of them do that. But or I don't have to wait until the battle's over to just switch my party around. No, like I can do it on the fly mid-battle, which was freaking amazing to me at the time. The gameplay is really thought out. Not only did TP, aka tech points needed for skills or arts, return, but you're also added on with the restriction of having this bar which indicates how many attacks you can use before you have to take a step back and wait until it replenishes. This already makes the gameplay sound like an ordeal, but it's really not. The gameplay is still just as fun as fluid as the other titles. Another change to the gameplay would be the leveling system. Rather than just simply beating up field enemies and gaining a set amount of experience, this time around we're using a grid system similar to that of Final Fantasy X. Battles award you with this thing known as grid points, or GP, which allow you to in turn level up different stats on the grid, ranging from simple things like health points to attack points to even defense and dexterity. Because of this, you can build every member of the party to your liking. We unlock arts through the grid as well. Coming back to this game was such a good idea. I really enjoyed revisiting the cast after all these years, and in turn it also helped me appreciate the story a lot more. It's an amazing story of loss, redemption, and self-discovery, which I feel many people can relate to. Also, I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but all the different locations in this game are very beautiful with strong, vibrant colors. I remember going through the game for the first time all those years ago and just running around exploring, just stopping dead in my tracks and panning the camera around just to soak in the aesthetic of each new setting we're placed in. Honestly, the only thing that rubs me the wrong way is Jude's outfit. I mean, like, what is that? But thankfully, just like any of the other Tales games, we're able to change all of the characters' costumes with either accessories or just flat out different outfits through DLC. All in all, this game is definitely worth your money and time, so if you've ever questioned on whether you should play this game or not, I'd say go for it. Again, this has been Blank taking a look back at Tales of Xillia. Let me know what you thought and feel free to suggest any other JRPGs I should dive into next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!